We're diving into another deck update from Stellar Crown, and this time we're going to be focusing on one of my all-time favorite cards in the game, Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR. This powerhouse doesn't just bring explosive attacks to the table, it also has built-in draw power, making it a card I always love revisiting every time that a new set drops, and Stellar Crown is going to be giving it some very big upgrades. We've got two exciting builds we'll be covering today, both having strong potential in the current meta, so let's break them down and see which one of them best fits your playstyle. Plus, stick around to the end of the video for a special bonus that'll help you build either of these decks on PTCGL. Now, as for those upgrades from Stellar Crown I mentioned though, they'll be taking this deck to the next level. We're going to be pairing Zoroark with Terapagos EX and Area Zero Underdepths to expand our bench size and deal some devastating damage with Zoroark's attack, Ticking Curse. It's going to deal 50 damage for each of your damaged Pokemon in play, and with this new stadium we can have up to 8 Pokemon onto the bench, that means 9 total in play, have damage counters on every single one of them, 9 times 50, that's 450. It's a little bit intimidating, even if we use double turbo energy to pay for Zoroark's attack cost, which costs 2 colorless energy. It does lower the damage output by 20, but you're still going to hit 430. That's enough to KO any Pokemon in the game, even a Charizard EX that's wearing a hero's cape. So yeah, we can take on the meta. And you can't forget Zoroark's V-Star power, Phantom Star. This lets you discard your hand and draw 7 cards, kind of like Professor's Research, but on a Pokemon, giving you incredible consistency with explosive draw power, especially when you combine it with, well, a Professor's Research or Carmine as your supporter for turn. You'll have no problem finding those key pieces you need to get into the game. That isn't all though, we also have Squawkabilly EX for that early game draw power, ditch your hand, draw 6, and even have Pheasantipity EX, so after something gets knocked out, you can draw into 3 cards, so you should have no issue cycling through your deck. Back to the attack though, to ramp up our damage we're going to be using Gengar. Its ability allows it to come back from the discard pile right onto the bench. It does come out with 3 damage counters on it, so it triggers Zoroark. Combine that with Damage Pump to move 2 damage counters off of the Gengar and onto 2 other Pokemon, and that's 150 damage that we're boosting Zoroark. Not to mention, if our opponent ever bumps our stadium, we can just discard the Gengars, and then when we get Area Zero back into play, we get Gengars back. So we have 2 or 3 of these on our board, our stadium goes down, we have to go down to 5 cards in play. Well, 5 cards on the bench. Gengars go away, and then Gengars can just come back, and we're in a pretty good spot. Not to mention the Gengars have 3 damage counters again, and we can move them around as we need. It's a great way to keep our damaged Pokemon in play, while not reducing our damage output. And as for another way to get damage counters out though, we do have the card Radiant Charge-a-Bug, which hopefully you haven't thrown this card in your bulk bin. Every time you attach an energy to a V Pokemon, it's going to put 2 damage counters on it. This means that as we're putting energy onto our Zoroark, it's getting damaged, and then we can just use Damage Pump from Gengar onto our other bench sitters like Charge-a-Bug and Terapagos. That's pretty much it for the core concept of the deck though. We basically want to hurt our board. So let's just get into the specifics of each build. We're going to be focusing on a more aggressive approach using Dodrio for the first build. Its zooming draw ability lets you place a damage counter on it and then draw a card. This is perfect for ramping up Zoroark's damage output while also helping you dig through your deck. Dodrio is also a solid single prize attacking option though, since for every damage counter it has, you're going to do 30 damage, meaning it can be used in a pinch to take KOs, go through walls like Mimikyu, or can force your opponent into playing an awkward 7 prize game, since they take out Dodrio and then ideally have to deal 3 Zoroark V-Stars. So they're going to be having a bad time, and yeah, we're having a great one. Another bonus of having Dodrio though is since it's low HP at just 100, we can use Fan Rotom. Its Fan Call ability lets you search your deck for 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less. This is perfect for finding the pre-evolution Doduos as well as the Dodrio to evolve up into on the following turn. You can only use Fan Call the first turn of the game though, so you need to prioritize it when you can. Rotom is also a solid early game attacking option though, as it can deal 70 damage for just 1 energy, as long as you have a Stadium card in play. So if your opponent only opens up a pre-evolution Pokemon or something like a Manaphy that passes to you, you could potentially go for a Donk play to quickly close out the game. Of course, we're going to be running Manaphy too though, for some solid bench protection, just to make sure that your low HP Pokemon like those Dodrios or Charge-a-Bugs and stuff aren't getting taken out by Radiant Greninja or Kyurem, because, well, that's a bad way to give up potentially 3 prizes in the Regidrago matchup, and let's not do that. For the rest of the deck though, we've got pretty standard staples, high counts of Research and Carmine to help dig through your deck while getting our Gengars into the discard pile. Palpad and Super Rod just to recover our pieces, since we have a lot of cards that discard cards, we need ways to get cards back, like our key supporters and Pokemon and Energy. Now for energy, we also have some basic Psychic Energy here, in addition to Double Turbo Energy. The Psychic Energy is mainly in here for Dodrio, so we don't have to reduce its damage output, but also gives you access to use Gengar as an attacking option if you're ever in a pinch. Now for the second build, we're going to trade the more aggressive Dodrio strategy for the consistency of having Bibarel. It sacrifices some of the immediate damage counters for a more reliable draw engine. Industrious Incisors allows you to draw until you have 5 cards in hand, which is a great way to keep your deck flowing, while finding our pieces like Gengar and damage pumps to fuel Zoroark's damage output in that way instead of just Dodrio doing it. As Bibarel has over 100 HP, it didn't make sense to include Rotom, which did free up some deck space though, for supporter cards like Roseanne's Backup, which can recover our Stadium and Special Energy cards and be a great tech option since Bibarel's being our draw support for turn effectively, as well as Colress's Experiment to help you target important cards like Double Turbo Energy and Area Zero. So yeah, Special Energy and Stadium, we got 2 techs for them now. Not to mention, since Bibarel gives us a way to recover our hand size in the late game, it's great to protect against disruption cards like Iono, so we did include Iono in the list as well, so that we can disrupt our opponent while getting out of it ourselves. This build definitely feels a bit more on the safe side, as you should be able to get through your deck reliably, but does take a hit in not having a great single prize attacking option outside of just using Gengar. But I did also thin the basic energy count due to that as well, since we just kinda need Gengar once, we only have 1 psychic energy in here. Now of these 2 builds though, which one are you leaning more towards? The aggressive Dodrio build to rush out damage counters, or do you prefer the consistency in draw power that Bibarel offers? Both feel like strong options, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Also, before you head off, I did say earlier that I'd help you build these decks, so I've got a special giveaway going on for you guys. I'm going to be giving 4 copies of the Zoroark V and VSTAR promo cards, well, the code cards to get them on PTCGL though, so you can try these decks out online for yourself. All you have to do is let me know, are you on Team Bib or Team Burb in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this video helpful in any way, and subscribe to keep up with the content. Until next time though, stay golden, you Goomba.